units that I purchased for the practice right out of the chute. Well, those went the first week that I got back to Houston. So then we ordered another 5 and then another 5. And I think over the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we had ordered like 35 units. And they're gone. They're still gone out of the practice. So we're excited about moving more of these units for our patients because they need them. And so when you bring in new technology and your staff's thinking, oh, this is another thing that I need to handle during the day, I think it's a good idea to give them a little incentive. And I do it as a team. So if one person does well, the whole team does well. So they all support each other. And they got really excited about that. They love it. They'll bring a unit in, turn it on, put it on the patient's foot or leg, and they'll tell the patients, be sure to talk to Dr. Parker about red light therapy. And the patient will say, red light therapy, yeah, I've heard of that, And so I'll walk in and my nurse is she'll tell me, I've spoken to Mrs. Jones about this red light therapy, and she's really excited about it. So Red Vibe has been fantastic for our bottom line.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98, Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream Bed Sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you, what a concept, now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
My name is John, and this is my beautiful wife, Lori, and this is our Star Wars Ewok. His name is Scout, and we have Scout for about 11 years now, and we started noticing about 3 years ago he started slowing down. He was unable to jump on the bed. He was kind of a little bit grumpier, and when my daughters, Macy and Mariah, would take him on walks, he would walk for about 30 yards, and then he'd lay down, and they'd carry him the rest of the way. So I heard about Pet Club 24/7 and about the products from a gentleman that I really trust and share a friendship with. And he mentioned to me that they have products that are going to help him with his arthritis, help him build his immune system. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's try them out. And I kid you guys not, within about 2 to 3 days, we started noticing a little difference. And then we took Scout on a walk probably about a week after we started using the products, the Mush Puppies, and he would walk the entire way. He would walk at least a mile, and it's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. He's 11 years old, which is around 80 years in dog years, and he's just happy. He's more energetic. He's not the grumpy old man he used to be, and we're just so thankful. And it was perfect timing because we lost our boxer Yankee about 1.5 years ago, and it was really hard on us. So I'm so thankful for Pet Club 24/7 for the products that they offer. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year. I'm so blessed and thankful that we were able to find this company and find these products for Scout. So thank you guys. Give it a shot. We appreciate you. God bless everyone.
The Paul Merrill Program.
All right, hour number 2, ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting from the great state of Arkansas. We really do appreciate you guys. Wherever you're watching, want you to do all things. If you're watching on the Paul Harrell Program YouTube page, we really appreciate it. We would love for you to subscribe, share that video, share the channel, like it. It helps with the algorithm. Also, Ex-American News, and obviously our afternoon audience, LFA TV, Live from America TV, back with us for the afternoon. We just had a very good hour. It went by very fast, but I thought it was very good. Eric Haynes, I want to give him a shout out. He was listening. He was saying it was good, and I feel better. It's very therapeutic to get it off our chest, but it can't just be about therapy. It's got to be about accountability.
Yeah, like I said, to end that hour there, we've got to stay fired up, but it's got to mean something. We just can't be, shouting into these microphones. It's got to mean something, and that's why we've got to hold these people accountable in every way.
But in kind of keeping with this, in this death cult that is, taking grip of our society and our own government, poisoning the population, women losing babies, Democrats are being consistent with that message because yesterday the governor of Massachusetts, somebody that goes by the name of Maura Healey, signed a bill to grant abortions in that state up to birth. This was the signing ceremony, and this is what it sounded like.
Thank you.
All of these liberal women up there. Abortion up to birth. Obviously, shouldn't happen at all. But it just goes to show you that all of this is just fallible men, in this case women, drawing arbitrary lines about when murder is acceptable.
So I'll never forget the testimony in front of Congress where a former abortion doctor, and that's all he did. That's literally all he did. It was to perform these abortions, and the number 7,000 is in my head, but I feel like it's actually more than that. But anyway, that regardless, he had performed countless, and he described in grotesque detail the procedures for abortion and how they ripped the baby apart in the womb. They ripped the baby's arms off, ripped the baby's legs off, all of this stuff, just an incredibly evil thing. And he said that he looked at an aborted baby once, and because this baby is laying there after they've killed it and removed it from the mom's womb, and he looked and he just said, "This was my last one. I'm done. This is evil. This is I don't know I think it's God talking to him at that moment." But I'll never forget he also said the same thing that Charlie Kirk used to say, that an abortion, especially a late-term abortion, is never medically necessary. And so when you think about this, a 9-month pregnant woman can make the decision to have an abortion now in the state of Massachusetts. Or they could say, well, my doctor felt like it was medically necessary. Okay. If the baby is a few weeks from the due date, why don't you just deliver the baby, induce the labor, and if you don't want that baby anymore, give him or her up for adoption. But they're already in this late term. They've got a chance. There are so many people that are born. What is it? 20? They say that as low as 20 weeks, a baby has a chance, and 24 weeks, they've got a darn good chance of making it through with all the medical advancements that we have. And that just wasn't enough for these ideologically rotten, evil, liberal women who say that abortion is health care. It's not, regardless of what a doctor who performed abortions sitting in front of Congress saying that it's never medically necessary. It's never medically necessary to have an abortion. You just deliver the baby. And if the baby doesn't make it, then at least you didn't kill the baby. You didn't purposely bring about the end of a life.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I've never talked about this. I don't even think I've ever even told you this, Paul. But I was married in my very early 20s. Excuse me. Let me get a drink before I tell you the story.
All right. Appreciate the honesty.
I was married in my very early 20s. Yeah, it was a volatile relationship. We were kids. We didn't know what we were doing. It didn't last very long. But she was pregnant, and she made it to a week before his due date. And I've known you for 20 years. Have you ever heard this story before?
I've never heard the story, man.
Yeah. She made it to a week before her due date. And I got a call from her mother, and we just did not get along during the pregnancy with my ex-wife. Like her mom just didn't care for me. It was just a doomed relationship, folks. We've probably all been there. But anyway, she called me, and I somehow knew, Paul. I can tell you exactly where I was here in Jonesboro. And I pulled over, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, because I knew she wouldn't be calling me a week before, because she said, Rob, like that. And I knew. The umbilical cord had wrapped around his neck, and we lost him. And he was 9 pounds, 9 pounds, 7 ounces, I think, if I remember correctly. And he was big. He was big. There was no doubt that was my boy, because he was big, you know. And they said that was the largest funeral that had ever been for a baby, you know. And I remember, I've got pictures of him. I pull them out on his birthday, and they're not the greatest pictures because, you know, if a baby is not helping, the doctor has to get really aggressive to get the baby out, because he was no longer with us. And I remember looking at him. I never once said that my wife miscarried. She didn't miscarry. We just lost our baby. Okay. And these people now in the state of Massachusetts, you can choose to kill your baby at that 1 week before due date, just like what happened with Landon. And that was his name. And now in his case, he died by just a freak thing, you know. We would have never ended. As volatile as our relationship was, as inconvenient as it was for us, people that did not need to be together, for us to be tied together for the rest of our life with this child, abortion never entered our mind. It certainly didn't enter mine, and my ex-wife told me the same thing. I cannot fathom the evil that exists that convinces women. I can fathom it because I know it's coming from Satan, that convince women just because that baby is inside their body. Forget the fact that it was produced with a man. You had to have, you know, either there had to be some participation from a man. Either he went to a clinic and this lady has done artificial insemination, which, but let's be honest, those people are not getting abortions. It's either that or this you know, two people, the old-fashioned way, correct. So a man has a say in this. Unfortunately, he doesn't in many of these women's minds, and unfortunately,
but
also with state.
But he's got to pay for it.
You cannot opt out of it, but
you
mom
can kill it, but you can't abandon it.
Now, I'm not trying to minimize a mom's role. Of course, they produce a baby. They can feed a baby with their body. Like they got a bigger part to play in it, but we have, it's our child as well. That Landon had my DNA as well as my ex-wife's. And so these people think, hey, the father has no say because this is a woman's right to choose. But they're forgetting about the fact that baby, I mean, they're not forgetting it. They know.
Yeah.
They know. That baby has its own heartbeat, has its own DNA, has its own body, Paul.
They resent God's order. They resent the fact that God made them as vessels to carry life, and they do not want to submit to that process. And so and I think fundamentally, if you really want my honest truth, I think deep down they really resent the fact that men don't have to have this problem. They resent the fact that God created male and female, and the female has this specific responsibility and duty, and they don't like it. They do not like how they were created. I think fundamentally it's very similar, kind of adjacent to the trans thing. I really feel like deep down that's kind of what this is. Well, it's not fair.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be equal, and you guys don't have to drop out of the workforce for 9 months. I really think fundamentally that's what this is.
Paul, let me ask you this. I would like a liberal, if I don't know if this is going to get clipped up as one of our shows, but I would like someone who is pro-choice that absolutely believes in the unfettered right for a woman to choose. Answer me this question. This scenario, a husband and wife are pregnant with a child, and the wife is pregnant, and they are a couple of weeks from their due date. The wife, unfortunately, finds some text messages that her husband has been having a multi-year affair with her own sister or something like that, or a friend, or or something. The husband and the wife immediately finds this stuff out and knows that this is the end of her marriage. And this is the only child that they have, and she says, I am not going to be tied to this man for the rest of my life, this piece of garbage. How dare he betray me like this? Massachusetts, that woman can end that pregnancy.
Yeah.
Can end this fully grown baby can be murdered in the womb. And you say, well, you're talking about a scenario that would never happen. Then why do you need this law? Mm-hmm. Why do you need this ability to have a third trimester abortion? Why do you need it? Well, because our doctor might need to, the doctor might decide, just deliver the baby. Deliver the baby. If you're in the third trimester, give that kid a chance. For the love of God, deliver the baby. Give that child up for adoption if you have to. Oh, no, it's too painful. I could never give my child up. I'll just kill him.
That is an actual argument that they do make. Yes.
It's
you're exactly
evil,
right.
Paul. And
Well,
you can't have a rational, you can't give me a rational, I would love it. If this gets clipped up, I want to see it in the comments. Give me a rational reason. Give me a rational reason that there needs to be completely unfettered access to abortion.
Yeah,
not special circumstances. Not that you have to say that the doctor has to say, "Hey, this honestly, I know that we could just deliver this baby, but honestly, if this baby is delivered, it's going to kill the mom." Most moms are going to do it anyway. They're going to go ahead and take that chance.
Yeah.
The same thing we see where moms get diagnosed with cancer while they're pregnant and they refuse chemo until after the baby is delivered because they know that that's maybe potentially a death sentence for them. In the comments, tell me. Give me a reason that there should be unfettered access.
Well, because you don't have a uterus. That's why.
I don't get to decide.
That's why.
I don't get to decide.
So
all three of my children are adopted.
Yeah.
Their birth mother 100% could have made a different decision, and I thank God every day that she didn't. But I'm telling you, I don't care. It doesn't matter that I am a man. I am affected by the fact that this could have gone differently for my children, and it does go differently for millions and millions of children.
It sure does. So as you look at this scene here, and this governor, again, Maury Healy, signing this bill for murder.
Trash.
I'm reminded of a quote from C.S. Lewis, writing in the Screw Tape Letters, as a demon writing to another demon, where he says, quote, I live in the managerial age, in a world of admin. The greatest evil is not now done in those sordid dens of crime that Dickens loved to paint. It is not done even in concentration camps and labor camps. In those, we see its final result. But it is conceived and ordered, moved, seconded, carried, and minuted in clean, carpeted, warmed, and well-lighted offices by quiet men with white collars and cut fingernails and smooth-shaven cheeks who do not need to raise their voices. Hence, naturally enough, my symbol for hell is something like the bureaucracy of a police state or the office of a thoroughly nasty business concern. You're seeing that. Those words written by C.S. Lewis all those years ago, you are literally seeing that, the greatest evil. It is signed and minuted. It is being done right there on the screen for all of us to see.
I listen, we've got you and I, Paul, the last time that we had a serious discussion about abortion, we posted clips online, and we had longtime friends disagreeing with us, very, very frustrated with us. We had our post went semi-viral where we were hearing from people all over the country that we just had never heard of and probably had never seen our show before. And they kept talking about how we're two dudes, making this assessment here. Mm-hmm. And I just want to tell you that I will still be friends with someone who believes in late-term abortions. Someone could sit and have this argument about it, I think, at any point, especially once the heart is beating. Some people will say conception, all of that stuff. But for me, in a non-religious point of view, The end of your life is when your heart stops beating for a prolonged period of time, obviously excusing the fact that you could be resuscitated if you're an adult or something. But when your heart stops beating for an extended period of time, that is the end of your life. Does it not stand to reason that your life begins when your heart starts beating, which is as early as, 6-7 weeks, right? Oh, I just said 6-7. But I believe the 7 weeks because of our 7 weeks coffee and all of that's pro-life organization. Anyway, so I think that that's a non-religious argument that you could make. If you are ceasing a beating heart, how do you say, if you're purposefully doing that, how do you go forward and say that's not murder? You're ending a life. It's the very definition of it. And so although I will still love my friends, I'm not a kind of person that's just going to completely delete somebody from my life. I'm going to still love them, but I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree with them, and I'm going to pray that they have some sort of conversion like that abortion doctor did, where he realized the evil that he was advocating for.
Yeah. A lot of people see the women don't like that, though. The feminists don't like that because a lot of times, that people don't even know they're pregnant until there is a beating heart, until you get 5, 6, 7 weeks in. A lot of women just find out they're pregnant then, and so that's why they don't agree with you there.
Did something happen 7 weeks earlier that could have possibly given us a clue?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Did you have unprotected sex? And again, people talk about the rape and incest, which is less than 2%. It's roughly 1.7% of abortions, and all the rest of them are by just elective abortions. But all these other ones are rape and incest. Again, I'll go with the Ben Shapiro model. I'm willing to have a discussion about those 1.7% as long as you're willing to concede that the other 98.3% of those abortions are evil. No. I'm not saying that. I believe that it's completely a woman's right to choose. So you're giving these extreme scenarios. And somebody might argue that I was giving an extreme scenario earlier when the 9 month happened and the husband cheated and all that stuff. You trying to tell me that husbands don't cheat on their wives while they're pregnant? It happens all the time, folks. Probably more than what that wife even realizes. Okay. Now, even statistically speaking, I'm digressing here, but women, statistically speaking, are more likely to cheat than men in a marriage. It's actually like 52-48%. But regardless, man cheating, can't have sexual relations with his wife during the pregnancy or whatever, gets to roaming and it happens. Marriages have ended over that, folks. I'm not naive. It absolutely has happened. Now, is that a reason for an abortion and all of that stuff? Well, then why do you need this exception, or no exceptions? Why do you have unfettered access to an abortion? You're saying that, women never do it. Women never get an abortion, an elective abortion in the 9th month. All it is. Then why do you need the ability to?
Yeah.
Okay? You're lying. You're saying this never happens. Bull. Then there would be no need to do this. This means that partial birth abortions, okay, folks, you want to look up something sickening? I won't go into great detail, but I'll give you the overview. It's allowing the head to crown but not breathe. Don't get that nose out of there because then it's a life. You're talking the nose is right there about to enter this world. Now, that nose has to be cleaned out before a baby can breathe out of that nose. We all understand that stuff. But once that nose is out and could conceivably take fresh air, in the real world here, outside of the womb, they jam something in. I won't be too descriptive. And they end that baby's life by going down their spinal cord and ending that baby's when they're literally an inch.
It's all arbitrary.
And they're saying that partial birth abortions happen. They happen right now, Paul.
I know. It's totally evil. It's totally wicked.
Disgusting. I pray for them.
And for whatever reason, you go back and look at that clip, all those women around, we have been given wicked leaders, and also just totally a total feminized society, and we are seeing the results.
I think the road to hell is paved with people who willingly do evil and say that it's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the Bible says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil."
And it's absolutely the truth, because there's so many different things you could put into that category, and abortion is one of them.
All right, folks, now it's time for our next segment. It's called Healthy Skepticism. All right, the Healthy Skepticism Maha Report. We got some fresh news, good news out of the White House. President Trump announcing that we're changing the vaccine schedule. We're going from 72 vaccines into babies to only 11 over a short time, not all at once. This is something that we definitely voted for. This is something that I voted for 100%. Here's President Trump yesterday. Oh, hang on one second. I think I've got it muted.
Takes another I'm delighted to be here in the Oval Office as our administration takes another historic step in our mission to make America healthy again. Today, we're proud to officially announce the United States of America's gold standard childhood vaccination recommendations, and that has to do with many subjects, but including autism in particular. I want to thank the man who has done more than perhaps anyone else to bring about this real revolution, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., my friend, and he's doing a fantastic job. I'm proud of you. Give me a very powerful hand to use. Strong guy, by the way. Thanks as well to Director of the NIH, Jay Bhattacharya, Deputy Assistant to the President of Domestic Policy, Dr. Heidi Overton, our Maha moms, and including Jamie Franklin, who's with us today, a very special person, and also the medical experts and professionals who've worked very hard on getting this to happen, this day to come. For long, and far too long, a long period of time, America's recommended more childhood vaccines than any peer nation, and even twice as many doses as some European countries, and even more than that. In many cases, we were requiring 72 jabs for our beautiful, healthy, lovely, delicate little children, including giving the hepatitis B shot to infants and newborns on top of many other vaccinations. The hepatitis B shouldn't be given until they are 14 or 15 years old. They were given early. Effective immediately, my administration is recognizing gold standard childhood vaccine recommendations for only 11 core vaccinations against the most serious and dangerous diseases, along with the MMR, which hopefully will be split up. You have the MMR. We want it in 3 separate vaccinations given at separate times. Together, there could be a possibility they're quite lethal, and separately, it looks like they are not at all lethal, but just very effective. So the MMR, we want to have separate visits, separate times. The vaccine being broken into 3 separate single doses. And
okay, I want to get more before we get to comments.
Okay.
I want more. We're going to finish Trump first. I think this one and another.
Separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations for hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children. In addition, this executive order directs the Attorney General to advance legal challenges against states that violate children's rights to religious or medical vaccination exemptions for the exemptions.
All right, I think we got one more here.
For long, and far too long, a long period of time, America's recommended more childhood vaccines than any peer nation.
All right, so that is very good news. Look, I know there's still people out there that don't believe in any of them, and I would be one of those people at this point. I don't trust any of them, but my goodness, going from 72 to 11, also breaking up the measles, mumps, and rubella, not giving it together, instead of doing these one visits where you chock them full of vaccines. This is in addition to what we found out last year from RFK Jr., and I've got RFK's comments we're going to get to after your comments, Rob, where they were saying, look, if you're pregnant taking Tylenol, it can cause autism. This is a breath of fresh air. This is something that we needed. This is an admission from the White House in its executive order that Big Pharma got it wrong.
Sure.
And we need to celebrate that as much as we can. We need to go further, but we need to celebrate the wins that we do have, and this is definitely a win. I think definitely a win, and an admission that the vaccine schedule has totally screwed our nation's youth up. So
yeah, so I mean, of course, I mean, there's been people that, I mean, the autism links, of course, as you mentioned, and Robert F. Kennedy has sort of banged that drum here that, you know, we went from, what was it, 17 vaccines before the 1980s, and now it's up to 72 and all of that. And you're just like, okay, why are we giving vaccines for hepatitis, which is, you know, was it B, that's the sexually transmitted version of it? So we're giving them a section when they're a newborn, you know, and they're like, well, the mom could have had it. Don't you think they would know that? She's in the hospital. Mm-hmm. They're running, getting blood work every other minute. I mean, you think they would know what the mom's got at that point? Yeah, they would know. They drug test them. They do all of this stuff. Heck, that's how, you know, our middle child, we got her because her birth mother was, you know, on crystal meth when she was you know, in the delivery room here, and so my daughter had to be taken to Children's Hospital and weaned off and all that stuff. We didn't get her till she was almost 2 years old, but at that time she never lived with birth mother because they knew everything about what was going on in that birth mother's body. Okay, it is a woman about to give birth. They know what's up. And so you would know whether that mom has hepatitis B. It just blows my mind. And that's just one example, Paul. And I'm so glad that they're splitting this stuff up, giving the body a chance. Like you need, in my opinion, you need the measles vaccine. That's just MMR. Like, I think you need it, you know, but that's just my opinion. There's some that don't do it and their kids have done just fine and all of that. But polio, hey, listen, we beat the polio. You know, that was a bad thing. Get the polio vaccine. I don't know what age they give that, but
do they even give that anymore?
I don't know. Well, but I mean, I'm just thinking of. I'm not a vaccine expert.
I mean, look. I mean, again, this is, you know, this is something that a lot of people are skeptical and they don't trust. It's going to take a long time. I mean, this is a good step. I mean, if the medical industrial complex wants people to trust them again, this is a good first step.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of people that don't trust the vaccines just because of what's in them.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
All the thing about is what they're trying to say is that listen, if you want your kid to have a flu vaccine, get a flu vaccine. Just not mandatory.
Yeah.
Just not mandating it.
Well, we're going to talk about that too, because this is good news.
Yep.
This is a great step in the right direction. But we'll
I mean,
talk
this
about that
just
because
goes to show too how important Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been.
You know, putting these two stories together, and we'll get to this a little later because I want to get to RFK's comments. But putting these two stories together, last week, so we get the news about Anthony Fauci and 82% miscarriage rate among first trimester moms. We get the news about that study, and yesterday or last week, the government approves an mRNA flu vaccine.
I have not heard of that.
Explain that. Yeah, they're green lighting.
Just putting it all together, huh?
mRNA.
Here, just get
this technology that has now screwed so many people up. The administration is green lighting an mRNA flu vaccine. Now, make it make sense, folks. That is an inconsistency that must be.
Don't like
you know,
that.
you're all, anyway. They also confirmed the next whatever, you know, Surgeon General, whatever her name is. And she's a huge vaccine proponent, not opponent. But anyway,
I'm not an opponent of vaccine, Paul.
Right.
I'm an opponent of when we're giving these things when they're not medically necessary, which is all a big money grab from these
Well, I mean,
medicine companies.
I mean, to your point, like think about it, 72-11. So like we're now saying that we were giving kids, you know, unnecessary vaccines. What
a ton,
all in the name of making.
Yeah.
Your pediatrician money and big pharma money.
It's all mixed up in this. Is all mixed up in this big old cocktail.
Yeah.
And the worst time. My wife takes our children to the doctor almost exclusively, but she had an appointment with one of them, and I had to take my middle child. And I've talked about my middle child and my closeness with her. She's a daddy's girl, and I mean, she knows how to get what she wants because dad, come on, dad, you know, whatever. But she had to be like 6 years old. Is that an age where they get stuff is 6 years old.
I have no
That's just
idea.
what my memory says. I don't know.
I said no to all of them.
And I had to take her, and they came in. It was just something, and they said, well, she's due for these vaccines, and so she needs to get them today, you know. And of course, I didn't know anything. I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I remember I was vaccinated when I was a kid, probably a lot fewer vaccines, you know, because I was born in 1979. But anyway, they said, okay, well, you know, she freaks out. Do you want them in your arm or your leg? And she chose her leg, which I was kind of, I don't know why I was shocked by that. But I remember her, I can still see it perfect, her little legs sitting there on this table. Paul, the biggest needle full of just stuff is, I mean, you know, I was focused on the needle because I was like, dang,
Wow,
that's a
that's
big
huge.
needle, and
Yeah.
there's a lot in there, all that stuff. And they come, and she takes this in the leg, and she's crying, and I'm crying with her. I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. I shouldn't. Your mama should have been brought in, you know. And I left there, and I sent a message to my wife. Don't you ever let me do that again. It was the worst experience. My wife still likes to laugh about that, but I'm making a sort of a joke out of it or whatever. But it was a serious thing. Like, I didn't question that vaccine then. I didn't question that vaccine. I think we all are starting to question these vaccines now.
Well, and we should, and that's healthy skepticism. And I'll say this: I mean, with what we just found out about the COVID shot, and I know it was a different, you know, mRNA versus the other, but I mean, gosh, can you blame anybody?
Oh no!
Can you blame anybody for saying I'm going to pass on that?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm not going to trust any of you guys.
Oh, some will
you know?
try to blame
because
us. Yeah.
you know the bottom line is mRNA foisted on us by Fauci and the pharma companies. It's the same pharma companies that are producing the others. So I mean, you can easily. I'm just saying you can easily understand why people are like, I'm out. I don't trust you guys at all.
If you could rewind 15 years, I keep always wanting to rewind 15 years. If you could rewind 15 years and you could say, hey, here in the not so distant future, there's going to be a big push against vaccines. Which side of the aisle would you have imagined? From my perspective, it would be liberals like, oh, I don't trust that. I'll make my decisions.
Yeah.
I don't trust that.
Yep.
I don't trust that.
And they're just all falling in line instead.
Yeah, and now they are mindlessly. We have,
and they were all for the war in Ukraine. When
my
it was
gosh.
like, you know, all putting the.
it just blows my mind how they're, you know, it's as ludicrous as the gays for Palestine. I'm like, why don't you go over there and see how that'll work out for you?
Yeah.
You know, just go around.
Well, my vaccine story was. We were, you know, up in the air, kind of like, okay, we're going to do it. I don't know. I think she was 3 or 4 or something. It was coming up on it, and I was super busy at work at the time. I was super busy, and I knew how my wife felt about it. She was very skeptical. I was very skeptical, but we hadn't quite made the decision yet. And then the doctor's appointment came, and so she was going to go to the doctor's appointment. And by the grace of God, and I really do believe this is just the Lord looking out for us. For whatever reason, they were out. She went to the doctor, and they were going to do the vaccine, and they were out of it. They did not have any in. And I remember just praising the Lord. I mean, like, Lord, thank you. So I took that as a sign of divine providence that the answer is no, and we were looked out for, we were cared for, and we both were like, we already felt bad about it, and I just was so busy, and I failed as a father to do my due diligence to sit everybody down, to sit my wife down and say, okay, let's not do this. But we never had that conversation because I was just so consumed with work at that time. And thankfully the Lord, I believe the Lord was in that looking out, and so from that point on we were just like, okay, we're going to pass on these. We just didn't feel right about it.
Well, I mean, there's a ton of research that you can do, and that research is not Google, folks.
Yeah.
If you're really
go
wanting,
read the inserts. I mean, you could just go read the inserts. Hey, can I get the inserts on these vaccines? Go read
those.
These giant pages about everything that could happen, and you're going to be like, you know, I mean, I know they got to do that for informed consent, but some of that stuff it's just like, no.
Go look at published literature in these medical journals, the ones that are not paid for. These ones that have done this research where an outcome was not a desired outcome from that research.
And this is where we're going to get to Kennedy here, because, you know, Kennedy is big in these committee hearings. You hear him where he's like, no, they're not tested. You know, these are tested back by scientists that actually know they're getting these to market without doing the proper
Correct.
testing.
Well, in the testing that they're doing, Paul, any testing that they're doing is, in my opinion, it is jaded. It is slanted
and they'll cook the books
to get a desired outcome.
Yeah, they'll cook the books. I mean, he testified about the study that showed that this was affecting black boys and giving them autism at greater rates, and they threw that research out and they deleted it, and then now it's all out in the open.
And if you think we're tinfoiled hat on that, just look no further than our earlier discussion about the 100% safe COVID-19, the 100% effective.
All right, here's RFK Jr. from yesterday in the Oval Office.
Reinforcing something the president said, which is the source of his concern about this issue. And I'll just give an example. In 1970, the biggest epidemiological study at that time in history was performed. And the university scientists from across this country looked at all the 8-year-olds in Wisconsin, about 900,000 children. And they were looking for autism, and they knew what autism looked like. And they came back with an incident rate of 0.8 per 10,000. So less than 1 in 10,000. The rate, according to CDC today in this country, is 1 in every 31 children. In California, it's 1 in every 19 children, 1 in every 12.5 boys. Well, there has been a dramatic increase. One of the things that the industry likes to say, one of the talking points, which the press loves to parrot, is, oh, we're just noticing it more. But this is an absurdity, and this is an assertion that has been debunked again and again and again by peer-reviewed literature. But it's also debunked by common sense. Because if we were just noticing it more, we would notice it in older groups. But we're not. We're only noticing it in kids who were born around 1989 or after.
Wow.
The older generations, you're not seeing those increases.
Millennials.
So something happened in the mid-90s that changed our children, and it has to be an environmental exposure. Because genes don't cause epidemics. They can provide a vulnerability, but you need an environmental toxin. And what the president has charged us with is finding which one of those exposures or which collection of exposures are causing this epidemic. For decades, I fought for a simple principle. When it comes to the health of our children, government has an obligation to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Tell the American people the truth and give parents the information they need to make informed decisions for their families.
That's
Amen.
simple, right
Amen.
there. He ended with the ended with the highlight, right there.
Can you believe? I mean, he's essentially saying that vaccines cause autism.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. He's saying
And
that the vaccine schedule that started in the 90s, the conspiracy theorists are right once again. Jenny McCarthy, who got basically like first version of being canceled. She might have been arguably one of the first versions of being
Carrey.
Yeah, going on CNN talking about how the vaccines gave their son autism, and then of course they cut to break and all the commercials are pharma ads, and they were really never heard from again. They were derided. Tom Cruise and Matt Lauer.
Yeah,
that was on another thing. That's the next thing that we have got to tackle. This is incredible. This is fantastic news.
Well, and when just that is in my opinion is that how can you try to say that that's a one-off, that's an anomaly if in the 1970s they knew what autism looked like, they did a study, and this was college research professors here that are from across the country. He says it's not very specific, but what that means is that you're catching, you would assume, all different political ideologies through this study. And listen, let's also be honest that autism was not political at that moment. Really hasn't become political until here in the most recent few years. And so what he said was less than 1 child per 10,000 showed signs of autistic behavior. Now it's 1 in 31. What? You want to talk about a contagion? That is, you're saying that can, oh, it just happened. No, we just recognize it more.
Yeah.
You know, oh no, back then if they were autistic, they were just put in they were just said they were weird or they were put in a mental institution. Autistic people are not mentally ill. There is an issue in their development that was stunted through whatever it was. I'm not going to sit and say that it's vaccines, but when you look at the number of vaccines back then versus the number that we have now, like I think there could be some causation correlation discussion going on here, and at the very least, shutting down the debate the same that they were doing for COVID-19. When you're saying, no, it could never happen, this is not, they're completely safe, and all of that stuff, it's the same argument. It's the same song and dance. We've seen this movie before, and that's what they're trying to do with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here. They're trying to say he's not a doctor, he's not a scientist, vaccines are safe, they don't cause autism. Go to a truly autistic child's parents and say, did you give your child vaccines? Some will say no. Maybe there's some other issues there. Some will say no. I would imagine that most gave their child vaccines just because, like I did, a nurse walked in there and said, your daughter is due for vaccines. I didn't ask which one they were. Yeah. I didn't ask why. I didn't ask what the possible side effects were. I just said, okay. And I'm not a parent that just kind of goes with the flow. I'm constantly sort of trying to analyze things, but that I didn't. And how many parents have done that since 1990? I would assume all have, or most have. And so in Robert F. Kennedy, you can sit here and rip on him all you want to, but all he's trying to do is get to the heart of why autism is so prevalent now, and it wasn't 50, 60 years ago.
Exactly.
What is the difference?
Here is Stephen Miller from that same Oval Office meeting.
Because of your courage and leadership, Mr. President, millions of parents all over America today are breathing an enormous sigh of relief. I say this as the parent of young children myself. Millions and millions of parents feel they've been pressured when their children are just weeks out of the hospital to take 5 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots all at once. They're told it'll be normal. Your kid will have a fever of 103 for 3 or 4 days. Your kid will stop eating for a week. Your kid's going to change all their sleeping. Don't worry, it's totally fine. It's totally normal. Nobody has studied it. Nobody's looked at it. Nobody's thought about it. The pressure from the pharmaceutical industry and from aspects of the medical industry to pump your kids full of shots days after birth with no understanding of the long-term consequences has been a medical travesty. This is an issue, Mr. President, that you have been leading on for years, and of course the man to your left has been leading on this issue for years as well, too. It's a really incredible of your courage and leadership, Mr. President.
I agree. I as a parent, I do. It's good to finally get the admission. And again, conspiracy theorists were right once again. You look at this, Caroline Leavitt, Matt Gaetz, more excellent work. European countries have been giving their kids 11 injections. We've been doing 72. This country is very much captive by Big Pharma. Now, the last thing I'll say is this. Toby Rogers says, one cannot square the executive order today with the fact that this administration just approved the deadly Moderna mRNA flu shot.
Yeah.
Now, this is, we've looked at what mRNA did in the COVID shot. Why are we going to do it in the flu shot? And he says, and the Senate just voted to confirm vaccine fanatic Erica Schwartz to be CDC director, not Surgeon General. I said that earlier, CDC director. Now, all of that aside, that is an inconsistency that shows you that our government's not monolithic, and there's still plenty of people underneath RFK Jr. that hate his guts and are sold out to Big Pharma and this lie, the same lie that covered the entire country and the world when it came to COVID. But I will say this. This is just an executive order. This is yet another example of something that will not be codified by Congress. We can guarantee, we can sit here and say with 100% certainty, Congress is not going to make this a law, and the next administration that can come in can completely undo this. Can undo this.
They will,
and they will, because Big Pharma is what it is.
Too much money.
From a practical effect, this is also going to give parents plenty of relief and motivation to say, actually, no, there are legitimate authorities that say different, and this will reverberate with the millennials that are having kids, with Gen Z that's going to be, having kids, and eventually Gen Alpha, I suspect that there's going to be far less people getting vaccinated, far less babies getting vaccinated from here on in the next 50 years because they don't trust Big Pharma, and they have good reason not to trust Big Pharma. So
yeah, and what's going to happen is if you start to see a groundswell of this and it continues to grow, then the government, especially once the liberals come back into power, and they will in some form, whether it'll be through the presidency or the Congress, they're going to come back into power. What are they going to do? Well, whatever Big Pharma tells them, to your point, whatever Big Pharma tells them to do, and then they're going to pass laws and mandate that these things have to be done.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, they are.
No, they would never do that. They would never do that.
Well,
How many people were kicked out of the military?
Yep.
Because the government mandated vaccines.
I was talking to a guy about that yesterday.
Yeah, and so and rightfully so, Trump corrected that when he got back into office, and gave them back pay, re-enlisted them if that's what they wanted to do, was to come back to it. Many chose not to, and who the hell can blame them? And that's just one example. What are they going to do on the local level with these publicly funded school districts?
Yeah.
Are they going to mandate that this stuff has to be done before a child can come to school? And we already have a little bit of that. I mean, I think you have to get you almost have to get a waiver, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's why they did say stuff in the executive order about religious exemptions and that sort of thing.
Sure.
But again, all that can be reversed, and our sold-out Congress will not codify this. We can almost guarantee it. But it does go to show, I mean, it's just, that's what's so frustrating, because it's like, I don't want to live under Democrat rule. I don't want the Dems to take Congress. I don't. But it would be great if the Republican Congress would actually do something and codify a lot of these executive orders, as well as the genital mutilation, calling that child abuse.
John Thune, the bastard, is telling us exactly what he thinks of Donald Trump and Donald Trump's agenda right now, literally right now, when however many hours so often they call the Senate into session so that Trump can't do recess appointments.
Yeah.
John Thune is a bastard. And he is telling us exactly what he thinks of Donald Trump's agenda right now. And if the Republicans have any balls whatsoever, they will get that man out of a leadership role.
I thought I had a Thune.
Who's the whip in the Senate? Who's the majority whip? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, he's not doing his job, whoever it is. I'm assuming it's a man, could be a woman, but I can't remember. I actually can't remember, honestly, a woman whip. But Pelosi didn't need that when she was in charge of the House, But
some guy named John Barrasso
from Wyoming.
Never heard of that guy.
Yeah, well, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign when your whip is not even known.
Oh, the old Seinfeld episode. What does the whip do?
Yeah.
And Kramer's like, well, in the olden days when the senators wouldn't vote the way the party leaders wanted them to, they whipped them.
You know what? I don't know. I wonder if there's some truth to it.
I don't think it's true, but it should be.
It should be. If you're not familiar,
you don't want to vote for the SAVE Act. All right. Well,
yeah.
Old John Barrasso, we got your 30 lashes scheduled.
Sure.
On the Washington Mall. You got to be there. Be there at 3:30 after
You've
session.
been whipped. You're going to be whipped.
We'll see if you see things differently.
Yeah. Well, if you're not familiar, the whip is basically the second in command there in the majority.
He's just a.
It's a ceremonial position.
Brown noser.
Other than he is tasked with whipping up votes, which is where the term comes from. And so when a lot of times when there's tension between members of his own party and the leader, whoever that might be, the whip is hey, now, what do you need here? Mm-hmm. What can we do to get your vote for this? What do you actually need? And that's where amendments come in and all of this. But if the whip and John Thune cannot get this, John Barrasso and John Thune cannot get this agenda passed through for Donald Trump, then I don't know why we need them in power anyway. At least if we're out of power, the fundraising will be great, and what we'll see. And I know I would rather them be in power than not be in power, but at this point, can I point to why they should remain in power?
Yeah.
John Thune is,
and this is the problem. Yeah, I mean, it's
I
tough.
guarantee you, John Thune's pockets have been absolutely enriched in the last year and a half.
That's actually the most reasonable position to take at this point. We played this for you last week, or yesterday rather. AOC is beginning the process of freezing her eggs.
Don't be weird about this.
Why?
Even though I know
You're the
all of
weird.
you.
You're showing it.
Okay.
And we're watching it.
Okay, so she's... All right. So she gives herself the shot. All right. So the reason we're revisiting this is because there's been some pretty... because there's been some pretty funny memes. This is my favorite one. I'm going to do it. I'm going to steal AOC's eggs.
I'm going to steal them.
I'm going to steal AOC's eggs. And then we've got this other one. AOC's eggs? I think you mean her huevos rancheros.
That's so stupid. You had to explain that joke to me. I was like, that's stupid.
I thought that was good. I thought that was pretty
You've been gleaming
funny.
about that one all morning.
Oh, it's
Paul.
just hilarious to
You've
me.
been trying to get to this.
All right. Also, we've got this viral clip. Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
So Posobiec says this is moderate Democrats trying to stop the DSA from running off the rails.
Dude, this is incredible. Let's see
Have
this.
you seen this?
I saw it without the audio, so I don't know.
It's the saxophone meme.
There you go.
She can't quite get it.
She's talking to it right now. Like, stop. And it gets worse. Just get in there. Push the brake. If I'm her insurance company, I'm dropping her right now. Well, I think her foot did get run over. And that car gone. That car is gone. Can you imagine if you're Nationwide or Progressive or something and you get a claim for this? Well, my vehicle ran off the side of a cliff by itself.
My vehicle ran away. Oh, man.
And then she's probably actually providing this as proof to the insurance company because she had such an outrageous story that nobody's going to believe her, and she's having to provide this, looking at her most foolish moment probably in her life. Like, look, that's right there is an indictment against your health, lady. You need to get in the gym.
Get a Stairmaster or something.
My God, man, if you can't stop your vehicle.
So
with that much time, that runway was like a slow, it was like a crash that we're watching from 2 miles away. It's coming.
Do you like the saxophone meme template? Do you know what it's from? Have you seen these? Like you'll be scrolling and there's like something bad that's just getting worse and worse and worse. And you got the saxophone music behind it. Okay, so it's from the movie Boys in the Hood. You ever seen the movie Boys in the Hood?
Yeah.
Well, when the star football player who's going to go on and be somebody gets killed, the gang members, that's the saxophone music that's playing.
Yeah.
Things get worse and worse and worse, and then of course he gets shot. Or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't say this is. I don't think this is nearly as bad as somebody
but
getting shot in the back in the hood.
It's just crazy though. That movie, Boys in the Hood. That's the one where they're like,
yes,
y'all want to see a dead body?
That's Stand By Me, Paul.
It's
I know it's in there too. But
is it in Stand By Me too?
That's the whole point of the movie Stand By Me.
Oh, really?
They're on a quest.
I thought it was the railroad track scene. That's Stand By Me, right? Where the trains come?
Dude. That's Rob Reiner for all his faults.
But there's
that
a dead body in that one too, where they're like, y'all want to see a dead body?
The boys. Of course, their it's about their personality and their friendship and all that stuff. But their whole thing is they're on a quest to see a dead body, a guy that had been hit by a train.
Okay. Well, maybe that's Spike Lee's point, saying like we don't have to go on a quest to see a dead body. We can literally see one.
That's it.
Around the corner.
He's literally referring to that.
That's actually great. I didn't know that.
No. Yeah, that's a great, River Phoenix was the I guess sort of the main character. Gordy was the main character, but River Phoenix was the best. But Corey Feldman was so great in that. And then anyway, it's just a great movie. I can't believe there's anybody out there who hadn't seen Stand By Me if you're over a certain age. So,
all right, Rob, we appreciate it, sir. We'll see you tomorrow.
My pleasure, as always.
God bless everybody out there. We want to remind everybody that the Paul Harrell program is powered by the Healing Veterans Project. Go to healingveteransproject.us. Scan the QR code. Also, if you're a business, we want to hear from you. Paul at healingveteransproject.us. Reach out. We want to integrate our donation options into your point of sale. Folks, that's all the time that we have. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.